Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about the Magna Guard heavy weapon options. We had 3 of these previewed in Atomic Mass Games social media accounts yesterday. We're going to talk about the new heavy weapon options for the Magna Guards today, and I also want to address a little bit of the concern that's going around right now on how the Magna Guards seem a little bit better than the Royal Guards, and it has a lot of people thinking that balance is out of whack and this is power creep, and that all sorts of things need to happen in order to fix this, and I kind of want to just talk about that a little bit too. So I'm going to be talking about Magna Guards today. If you guys haven't already, make sure you enter to win that $25 Amazon gift card. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. I'd also love to have you guys over in the Discord. We're going to be doing some more giveaways this coming weekend, so stay tuned for that in the Discord. But yes, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. We have Legion channels, Armada, X-Wing channels, very family friendly, so do that. We got other links for social media if you want to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that other stuff. Also get that free Armada and Legion AI expansions over on Crabbok.com. Some other content over there as well, and there's other links down there as well, so check all that stuff out, and let's dive right in to the previews. So first, this is interesting. We have what you might have thought was a personnel upgrade on a Special Forces option, and this is just the regular IG-100 Magna Guard. It adds an extra IG-100 Magna Guard Mini, and it has nothing more to it than that. And the interesting thing here is that usually every heavy weapon you add to a unit serves usually a specific purpose, and this one is just an extra mini. It's still going to be able to use the weapons that are on the base unit card, but it's going to have no special effect other than that. The advantage here is that you're getting a discount. It's 22 points. It's a little bit cheaper than the other heavy weapon options that we're going to take a look at, but I think it's important to think, well, what purpose does this kind of bare bones Magna Guard serve? And I think there are purposes for something like this. If you don't want your IG-100 to really be to be attacking, if you want this unit to serve either as maybe an objective type unit, but mostly if you want this to serve as a guardian unit that's guardianing and protecting your commander, guarding, I guess, not guardianing. No, it's guarding. If you want this unit to guard your commander and to have the most hit points it can while serving in a guardian capacity, this will probably be a great option for you. If you're not really planning on doing a whole lot of attacking with your IG-100, then here's a great option. So I think this is a good one for that. And also sometimes you just need those extra points. So that's cool. I mean, it can still attack. I want to point that out. It can still attack. It's just not going to get any special weapons. But as for the folks that get special weapons, let's talk about those. We start off with the RPS-6 Magna Guard, a standard bazooka with range 2 to 4, red, black, and white attack dice. It has critical 1 and impact 2. Which is not bad. This is, it's kind of a multi-purpose bazooka. You've got your criticals, you got your impacts. It gives you plenty of defense against vehicles, and maybe a little bit of help against somebody who's going to dodge. You get that critical 1 added to your attack pool. That's kind of nice. That's kind of nice to have. So, but overall, it seems all right. As I said, 28 points. So this is going to be 6 points more than the IG-100. And, this is maybe my least favorite of all of the options. I don't really think of our Magna Guards as a range 4 kind of attacking, long range, anti-armor kind of attacking unit. I don't generally think of them that way. I think there's B1 heavy weapon options if that's what I'm looking for. So I don't really see myself taking this option quite that much, but it could be an option. It's certainly not necessarily a bad option, and I think because the basic unit already has surge to hit and a lot of dice, that maybe it could be a fairly good unit. I mean, if you're trying to make sure that impact 2 really goes off, you're going to have a lot of dice if these guys can manage to attack. You're not going to just have a black and a white and a red. You're going to have more dice, and so I think it could potentially be something that works. But it's also a little bit in contrast with the fact that their regular ranged attack is only range 1 to 2. So you'd have to be like range 2. You'd have to be exactly at distance 2 from a heavy weapon to really get all of that together. So it's, you know, I don't know. I just don't think it's all that great. But it could be a way to split fire if you're trying to, you know. Ultimately, I'm less than impressed with this one. I feel like we're at this point right now where, you know, rocket launchers are on infantry are so boring. And it's just one of those things like, it's almost like a standard thing they have to put with like at least half the units that come to the game. I'm surprised Wookiees don't have, you know, a rocket launcher, and I'm surprised there's not a rocket launching Jedi, and maybe Jar Jar Binks will come with a rocket launcher option also. It's just, you know, and I know that there are a lot of rocket launchers that get used in Star Wars and in the Clone Wars and stuff. I just you know, they're kind of boring to me because especially so many lists tend to be, you know, very infantry focused, and impact is one of those keywords that's only going to work in some games. You know, it's kind of like Ion. It's when it works, it's great, but it's not. You know, there's going to be a lot of games where it doesn't do anything. So I'm usually not a big fan. Now, Critical One is what makes this one, you know, kind of a little bit better. You know, because that one is going to work in all games. So at least it's got that, and it doesn't have cumbersome or anything that's some other, you know, bazookas. It doesn't exhaust to fire. So I guess it's got a few things going for it, but ultimately not my favorite. I like a heavy weapon that synergizes with the unit a little more, and I don't feel like there's any synergy at all between this guy and the rest of his unit. But let's move on to the one that I really like, the Electro Whip Magna Guard, or Electro Whip. Why are you saying it that way? Why am I saying what way? He's Electro Whip Magna Guard. Oh my god. Okay, so can we like make a Cool Whip meme out of this guy? Like he's like his base is now going to be like a thing of Cool Whip, or like he's standing in some Cool Whip, and he's got like his whip is actually like got like frosting on it, like he's hitting you with Cool Whip, but electrified Cool Whip. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe it's a great idea. Maybe it's a double critical idea. I don't know. But let's take a look at him. He's also 28 points. And he's got Immobilize, which is such a cool keyword to show up in this wave. Hasn't been that important of a keyword in the past, but I think it's going to be very, very important moving forward, especially with Burst of Speed being in this wave. Immobilize is actually a really good. I think Cad Bane is going to see more play. I think Sabine is going to see more play. I think Boba Fett might even see a little more play now, because we're going to have these Speed 3 Nightmare Jedi running around, and like, hey, let's immobilize them so that they can't really do all the things that they think they want to do. And now we've kind of partially wasted their burst of speed. Wouldn't that be something? So I think that's a pretty cool option for some. I mean, immobilize is just a really good way to kind of mess with a lot of Force users anyway. Those pesky Jedi that want to charge into your droid formations and cut you down. So this is a melee weapon and a ranged weapon. It is restricted to range 1. So what that does mean is you are not going to be able to electronically throw Cool Whip up at a snow speeder or anything that is immune to range 1 weapons. But it's gonna be real nice with to maybe consider tossing some grenades in. And since these guys can take grenades, right? So like maybe you want to throw an impact grenade on them or something. Well, maybe impact grenade. You know, I don't know if they're going to want to throw grenades at range 1 all that much because they've got better dice, so they got more dice, and they already have surge to hit and stuff. But you know, it's just an interesting thing about the impact stuff too. But immobilize 1 and versatile, so you can perform ranged attacks with this even while engaged. I love that. I love that, because you can actually be in a melee and split fire, right? Like, which is so cool. But you, again, he's the only one that can use it, so you can't have the whole unit. It's not like you're gonna have, you know, a whole build of 3 whip guys. But it's 2 red dice, which is nice. Gosh, that's so corny. Isn't that really corny? And I feel like this kind of brings them a little bit more in line with the Royal Guard as far as dice, because that was one of the things that the Royal Guard had over them, is they had a little bit better dice, and so now either at range 1 or in melee, they're kind of approaching you know, that better dice pool. And so yeah, but immobilize is just a really great keyword to slow somebody down by 1. and somebody who's already speed 1 like Vader or the Emperor or Commander Vader or the Emperor aren't going to be able to move at all. And so that's going to be pretty nasty. And of course, if you have multiples of the Electro Whip Magna Guard, then you could really completely shut somebody down. So maybe we're going to see folks running like triple whips. Whip it good. Are we gonna? And what would that list be called? Would we call whip it? Whip it? Would you whip it good? I don't know. Would you cool whip it good? That might not be too cool. I don't know. I'm really like all over the place with dad jokes today, and that's really a bad idea. But yeah, so that's the different options, and you see we only have the one heavy slot, so it was interesting to me. So interesting previews. It was nice to get the confirmation that we are getting the basic do nothing heavy option, which is just going to be an extra mini, which brings it up to 4 units in here. Kind of a lot very similar to the Royal Guard, and a lot of people are thinking right now, boy, the IG 100 Magna Guard are so much better than the Imperial Royal Guard. And so this is the second half of things that I want to talk about. So I've got to caveat all of this with that, they're in different factions, and we haven't seen everything from this wave yet. There's still the hacked comm. There's basically at least one other upgrade that comes in this pack, as well as potentially other stuff that comes from this wave. So we haven't seen the whole picture of the IG 100 Magna Guard yet, although we have seen quite a bit. So I'm not going to say we haven't seen anything. We've certainly seen a lot of it. We haven't seen 100% of everything yet, but the Royal Guard are getting some things also, like into the fray, for example. And there's other Guardian changes too. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's good for the Royal Guard to get a little bit of boost, because I think they're a unit that just doesn't see a whole lot of play. I think that they could use perhaps some help, and it does look like at least some is coming. Maybe more by the time we see the end of the wave. But the Magna Guard are also in a different faction, and I think that's a really important thing to consider, because the Magna Guard can really only Guardian commanders. So I see them as, they could have a couple of different roles. Like, I don't really see them as being a bazooka, rocket launcher, anti-armor unit. I just don't see that really being their purpose, although it is an option, I suppose. But and that could be maybe an option if you're going to stay back with your commander, but also want to shoot. So maybe that's something with a super tactical droid who's going to kind of stay in the rear, and you want to be able to Guardian but also shoot. That could be maybe an option for that, and rightfully so. Maybe that's the thing that'll happen. But their Guardian is limited. They don't necessarily have units in the Separatists that want to take no damage. Right, like even like Dooku can take a few damage. It's not a big deal. Grievous can take a few damage. It's not a big deal. They don't need Guardian all that much. Whereas if you look at Palpatine is so much more effective if he has 0 damage on him. So the Royal Guard for him are so much more important. And I think you need to take, when you compare different units like these guys versus the Imperial Royal Guard, you have to take not just the whole wave and everything that's available to them, which we don't see, but you also have to take the faction identity into the picture to kind of look at everything. And I think in case of the Royal Guard, there are a few different cases where they might Guardian people, but the primary thing that they're going to be used with is for Guardianing Palpatine. Palpatine also has Entourage for Royal Guard, which is one thing that these guys don't get. So he gets to make sure that they have that order. So if you just run 1 with Palpatine, at least you've got something. But you can run multiple with Palpatine. You can run 3. You can run 4 IRG with Palpatine and just completely Guardian him. 2, like crazy, and nothing gets through. And granted, even if something does get through, Palp's already got the red defense die and Surge to block, so it's already hard enough to get damage to Palpatine. But with those guys, you can just help make it virtually a mathematical certainty that Palp doesn't get damage, and that's you just don't have that scenario with the IG 100 Magna Guards. Now, granted, if these guys got ported over to the Empire, then I think we would have a little bit more of maybe our cause for concern. I'm like, oh, wait a second, they are now a little potentially better, but we don't necessarily have that over in the Empire. We've got this unit that maybe might not be quite as good, doesn't have that surge, isn't getting those free tokens. Okay, I get that. but they can protect somebody who's way more important. Now, this might change someday if we get a Chancellor or a Darth Sidious or something like that, and he's just like Palpatine, you know. That might change things a little bit. But I think it's important to take the faction and the worst case, the worst abuse type of case scenario into effect before we try and cry that Imperial Royal Guard are broken. They're getting some love in this wave. There could be more love that they're getting that we haven't seen yet. And they have Palpatine, who, by the way, is about to become like a nightmare, like a nightmare train with no brakes. You know, with that burst of speed, Palpatine is going to be just insane. And with lots of Royal Guard, I have a feeling we're going to see like 2, 3, and maybe even some 4 Royal Guard builds to run with a Speed 3 Palpatine, just so he can get in there, do his 1 pip much sooner than expected, and not die. I think we're going to see it. I think it could be really strong, and that's why it's not really fair to compare the IG-100 Magna Guard to Royal Guards right now. That's kind of my take, and I'm sticking to it. We'll see. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let's talk about it. You know, you can let me know what you think down in the comment section. You can hop in Discord. We can talk about it there. And of course, we'll talk about more spoilers as they come out. There's still plenty more in this wave for AMG to show us, so I'm really excited. We'll be doing another double critical on Sunday night, so we'll be talking some more groovy stuff. And I think we might focus it on Legion this week, so that'll be real fun. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank my patrons. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support the channel. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I couldn't do this without your continued support, so thank you for that. Always remember, guys, when you go fishing, make sure not to throw your spouse or children in the water before you cast your line.